It's beginning to look a lot like the winter holidays.
The winter holidays.
At least here in Indiana.
My house is decorated. I'm doing some ASMR hot chocolate. I don't know if you can hear the powder.
I don't know if we'll be able to hear.
I think you need to bring the mic closer.
Let me just get it.
Yeah,
really.
there you go.
Can you hear the clinking?
No.
Barely. Like your microphone's too good. That's what it is.
And I'm also
like,
trying not to splash hot chocolate on my microphone.
Yeah, I don't know how to do ASMR properly. So
I'm about to say another skill 12-year-olds have that I don't. Welcome back to Not My Fantasy, the show where we talk about fantasy films and the lore that inspired them. I'm Cullen.
And I'm Hannah.
And today we have a special guest, a fellow terrier, Tori.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Of course, you as Vanessa Hudgens' greatest nemesis. It's like
That
we
is
had
true.
to have you. How could we have this conversation without you? Like,
yeah.
it'd be
Yeah, I feel like
incomplete.
it would be rude to have this conversation without you.
Thank you. I'm really grateful to have a seat at the table to air my grievances publicly.
Yeah, this is our version of Red Table Talk. Red and green table talk,
Red
if you
and
will.
green, yeah.
Festive.
Thank you.
It's the holiday season. Last holiday season we talked about Lord of the Rings. Now we're getting into some holiday specific movies. I am drinking out of my Merry Christmas mug. I have a Feliz Navidad mug that I drank tea from when I watched the movie. We had just put up our tree, just sitting there. It's very aesthetic. You know, beginning the holidays with the Queen of Christmas herself, Vanessa Hudgens.
I would argue that Melissa Joan Hart, right? She was Sabrina a while back.
Yeah.
She's all over Hallmark and stuff. So I would say she's maybe the OG Queen of Christmas.
Yeah.
And maybe Vanessa Hudgens is the princess.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah,
switch.
Or the evil villain. Who
Or
knows?
the evil villain. I think I thought the evil villain was Kenneth Cameron Bure.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
That's accurate.
She's like, Hallmark Channel is too aggressively liberal for me.
Which is hilarious.
She made her full own channel, right?
Yeah, the Great American Family Channel.
Oh, good.
And she said there'd be no gays.
That.
Well,
I think, to be fair, someone asked and she had to say the quiet part out loud, but like we all assumed. Because she's like, Hallmark's too liberal, and you're like, what about Hallmark is liberal? It's like gay people exist now.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen some of her content and it's pretty gay. So I don't know if she's been successful in that endeavor.
So there's a Netflix holiday films are like Hallmark films, but they're their own genre. And I think I don't just say this because of where I work. I think I appreciate them more because they're more unhinged. They're weirder, they're sillier, and they know you're watching it so you have something that everyone at the holidays can not fight about, can just be on, but also to make fun of. They're like, we're having fun, you're having fun.
I actually said the opposite. I actually said that Hallmark is more unhinged because of the movie Holiday in Handcuffs, where Melissa Joan Hart basically handcuffs Mario Lopez and forces him to be her date at her family Christmas gathering.
A classic.
And I was like, that's unhinged.
That's wild. But for every one of those, there's a million that is like, it's the same plot, but they just switch the characters.
It's always like going home to your hometown, running into like your ex-boyfriend who's now like a carpenter.
Yes, exactly.
And no knock to that. There's a talent, there's a passion, for that. But I like a little weird.
I think the thing I appreciate most about the Netflix holiday movies is that they all apparently exist within the same universe.
Love that.
There was so much product placement of Netflix movies.
Because Because in the Princess Switch franchise, they watch is it The Prince and Me or The Christmas Prince? Is that the
Oh yeah, it's A Christmas Prince, which is
Christmas Prince?
also like low-key referenced in A Night Before Christmas.
Well, in the Princess Switch 3, the characters from A Christmas Prince are present at like a coronation.
Yeah, they're in from Aldovia.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fictional
wait,
land.
don't they mention Aldovia in this movie?
Yes, they
Her
got
sister
the
says,
grandparents got the acorn
the
ornament from
giant,
Aldovia.
the giant acorn, and I was like, "That's not a real country."
Wow. So this
How
isn't
I
our
caught
world.
that.
This is its own cinematic universe.
Love
It's
that.
its
Well,
own,
also, Bracebridge is not a town that exists in
Ohio.
actual Ohio.
Okay, bringing back
Justice for
from
Ohio.
bring back from Glee Boot.
Here I
Hannah's
am reporting
geography
live
corner.
from Bracebridge, Ohio, a city that famously does not exist in Ohio, but is actually in Ontario, Canada.
Oh.
Found that out when I Googled this background.
We love A Christmas Cinematic Universe. Last year in Glee Boot, we reviewed the Lindsay Lohan Court Overstreet Falling for Christmas. Not a fantasy film, but
Right.
all equally iconic.
Yeah, she probably would have rather have gone to Aldovia for the holidays instead of wherever she was getting proposed to by her bisexual
Cool.
boyfriend and
Who she
falling
refused
off
to
a cliff.
kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a wild movie.
It's so good, and I really hope that there are more to come.
Honestly,
I'm down for Falling for Christmas too.
So Lindsay Lohan is just going to constantly have concussions.
Yeah.
It's going to be 50 first dates.
Yes.
Maybe Cord
Someone pitch it. Someone pitch it.
Cord has a concussion this time.
Oh, interesting.
And he doesn't know how to be a hot lumberjack dad, and she has to like teach him how. And so then you have Lindsay Lohan trying to dress up as like a butch lumberjack, and the lesbian community will love it.
What if it's her coming out story?
It.
Oh my god.
She's also bisexual. That's how she got along with Tad, who her fiance. Yeah, this is deep Netflix lore. So to anyone who ever was like, well, you've heard of a Republican or libertarian boyfriend, what about a feudalist boyfriend? To anyone who's asked that question, Netflix provided The Night Before Christmas in 2019. A lover era film.
It's also December 2019. Like, we're heading right into COVID. Like, this is the time.
Like, the before times.
The before times. COVID, which famously launched the cancel Vanessa Hudgens campaign when she released those 2 unhinged Instagram lives.
Yeah. So that means this night survived like the Black Plague.
I was just gonna say
back into time.
He's in the after times.
And then meet another COVID. Yeah.
That's wild. Well, I mean, there's going to be a whole other wave of other diseases. Because, like, spoiler alert, by the time the movie ends, and
he's going to bring
his brother's left behind. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. He's going to die in like 5 years from an infection, getting a paper cut.
I mean, I'm concerned about the knight's immune system because, like, can he handle the air in 2019 Ohio? Because for me.
I just swung my microphone. I have so many questions.
So, was this our first time seeing this movie?
Yes.
No.
No. I think I've watched this like almost every holiday season now. I think I watched it. I will put it on while I'm like wrapping presents. Just like I'm not fully watching it.
Your 4th time watching it? Your 4th Christmas?
4th or 3rd or 4th. This movie raised me like a Vine compilation, because the Christmas 2019, I was at a
Christmas
job.
Vanessa Hudgens clips to cure my cancer.
Yeah. So like I had a job where I wasn't allowed to go home for the holidays, even if I had the time off, because I wasn't allowed to use the time off in December. And so it was my first time not, being with family, like being home at my parents' house for the holidays. I was like 24. Yeah. So I did see an aunt and uncle on Christmas Day, but I was spending a lot of Christmas alone. And so I was in my cold little Van Nuys apartment with me and my roommate's cat. We watched this movie and I was like, this is what I needed. So,
I bet you Suki hated it.
Suki would hate this movie.
Yeah.
Gatita did not really watch it either. She left halfway through, but she didn't come back like she did for Cinderella. She was like, no, this is a hard pass for me. But I have a fondness for this movie, as so weird and unhinged as it is. I both love the movie and I love to make fun of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't think too hard about it because it truly doesn't make an ounce of sense.
It doesn't.
It'll break your brain.
And I think the movie wasn't meant to. And so I think there's like, in our Wish episode, we talked about good faith and bad faith criticism. I think at a certain point, it's like you have to meet it for what it is. It's like a silly, fun movie, but it's also so fun to nitpick. And I think that's where there's a time to like tear something apart, is when it's fun. Because some people just like tear something apart to be annoying, and this is actually fun because it's not like Vanessa Hudgens like, this is my magnum opus. It's not like Brad and
don't
the writers.
speak for her. Do not speak for her. You do not know.
I do not know.
This is.
But maybe Brett, like, I feel like people were just like, let's have a fun movie, and that's what this is, as Debbie Ryan would say, and that's what this is. So Tori, you've seen this movie before as well?
Yes, I think this is at least my second, if not my third viewing of this movie.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Speaking of supporting women, this rom-com film was directed by, it's a Christmas fantasy rom-com film, according to Wikipedia, so this does fall in our purview. Directed by Monica Mitchell and written by Cara J. Russell. We love women in the arts, women in Hollywood. We support.
Women in STEM.
Also women in STEM.
Produced by Vanessa Hudgens.
Yes.
Of course.
And Brad Kervoy. The film stars Vanessa Hudgens as Brooke Winters, Josh Whitehouse as Sir Cole.
Circle.
Circle.
Yeah, he's a knight.
He's a knight. Emmanuel Crick as Madison, Ella Kenyon as the Old Crone, Harvey Jarvis as Sir Joffrey, Isabella Franca as Claire, Jean-Michael Legal as David, Scott Ryan Yamamura as Evan, Arnold Pinnock as Officer Stevens. So that is our cast. Star-studded. But you know what? They had a good time and they got paid, so I'm happy for them. So I think before we get into the lore, I think maybe the first lore we tackle is Vanessa Hudgens herself. So this is kind of like, the meme, everyone except my enemy, Gwyneth Paltrow, you know what you did.
Yes. Yep, yeah. That's me and Vanessa Hudgens.
Okay,
Vanessa Ann Hudgens.
Vanessa Ann Hudgens.
Christian name.
So what happened? What started the beef? What started the next season of Ryan Murphy's Feud?
Okay, well, we have to go back to 2019, pre-pandemic.
Okay.
I was living in Los Feliz. Who else lived in Los Feliz? Vanessa Hudgens and her then boyfriend, Austin Butler.
Elvis himself.
Yes. This is before. Although I did get to witness his transition into early Elvis days right before the breakup and shortly after the breakup.
Wow.
And there's a restaurant called All Time, very popular in Los Feliz, and is a bit of a like B-list hotspot for actors who were once child stars, I think is the best way to put it.
I feel like there must be a podcast happening there at all times.
I hope so. And Vanessa Hudgens and Austin Butler were there every weekend, and I would go there for my coffee on Saturdays or Sundays. Look at my dog's so mad about this. And she would often be there with Ashley Tisdale and Ashley Tisdale's husband and their Yorkies. And we would see her, no big deal. So one weekend I'm there with a friend from out of town who, I will be honest, I won't name names, but she is, they're pissed. They're pissed having to hear about Vanessa. Bunny, Elizabeth, hold on.
They're just like, not again, not this again.
The plagues of having a chihuahua. So we had a friend in town, and she can be annoying. She can be high maintenance. I'll just say it. I'll name it. So we go there to the all-time patio. We order our food. We walk out. Who's there but Vanessa Hudgens and Austin Butler sitting at their table. And we go and sit down at a table. And my friend who's there is like, there's too much sun. We need to move to a different table. So we get up and we move to a different table. And we go over there, and then it's like there was something else that she didn't like about that table. And she was like, can we move to another table? So we move to a third table. And as we're sitting down, I hear Vanessa Hudgens turn to Austin Butler and go, what are they going to get up another time? And then they proceed to laugh at us and mock us for changing our tables. And since that day, I've never forgiven her. I was a big High School Musical fan. Loved her. I watched Carrie Diaries. No one else watched that show to support Austin Butler. Okay, big fan. And yeah, she made fun of us for changing tables 2 times. And, you know, there is a part of me that says that makes sense because it was ridiculous, but how dare she?
I think the real, well, first off, thank you for speaking truth to power. And then secondly, I think the real kicker here is that she said, what are they going to get up? And like, she didn't have a funny joke about it. She just said it and then they laughed. Like, that's not a laugh-worthy quip.
No.
And that's why hot people can't be allowed to make their own content. I say that all the time. You click on like a reel or something and you think there's a joke and then the person doesn't know how to make one because they're hot. And you're like, and if we learned anything, you know, from the Matt Rife comedy special.
I knew you were going to mention it.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Done by Randall's former assistant from Monsters, Inc. You know, like he wasn't hot, became hot, did his whole comedy thing about being hot, and then it turns out he's not funny because it like spoiled his brain or something.
Of course not.
Yeah. So that's some Vanessa Hudgens lore. There's 2 iconic Vanessa Hudgens memes. One is recent. It's the clip from High School Musical 3 where she gets up and goes like, Troy, and then they sing, and then people stitch Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce over them. I kind of hate it because it's like it looks weird, but I think that scene's very funny because my cousins, when they were little, like prime age for that franchise, thought that was so corny and hilarious. They would just replay that scene again and again and could never make it through the movie.
Love it.
And then there's, of course, I reference this 27 times a day during COVID.
Oh, God.
During the plague, and we're talking about Coachella, and she's upset that it was going to be canceled. And she said, people are going to die, which is like unfortunate, but inevitable.
And... but you're missing the inflection. But inevitable? That's how she delivers the line. That is how she delivers the line. And I say that to my sister often.
I forgot about that one. My God.
Yeah.
I have that screen recorded and in my favorites folder in my photos. I watch it often. It's good.
It's funny because it was a confusing time of like everyone was throwing out opinions, and then celebrities were like, okay, we need to be involved in this, and they did not know how to handle it with
someone needed to take away their phones.
Yeah.
And this is why PR people exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Imagine happened. I never forget.
I literally blacked that out of my brain.
Honestly, I think of Gal Gadot's Imagine and the fact that she later blamed Kristen Wiig. I think of that and the Vanessa Hudgens Unfortunate but Inevitable. Like those are like go-to memes. Like, okay, think of something. I think of that all the time.
COVID
like,
memes.
Yeah. Anytime anything with Vanessa Hudgens comes up.
There was also her very famous video that she posted on her grid. Real VHudg fans know that on St. Patrick's Day, she posted something dancing saying, we should be in a pub, but we can't because lockdown. That's how she also delivered that one.
Yeah.
I also have that saved and send it to my family and friends often.
Yeah, I mean, I know many a celebrity and many a regular non-celebrity who was violating lockdown rules. I think it was a long time. People all had slip-ups. I know I did, but I think posting it, I think that's a bad move.
Yeah, that's chaotic behavior.
And maybe don't complain about being in lockdown. Like, yeah, it wasn't like great. I know people are like, remember how beautiful it was? I was like, it was stressful and in some ways relaxing, and there's many positives, but it was not ideal.
No.
But she did live in a mansion in a gated community.
Yeah,
And
true,
so,
true. Yeah, other people had to go to work every day still and work her Carl's Jr. in a mask.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she needs to learn some humility from a knight. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. We're gonna go into the lore of knighthood, and I don't know how likely it is you'll learn humility from them. Knights with a K. I know. I mean, I live in Los Angeles. Knight with an N is fantastical to a lot of people. They're like, "What is this? I don't know how to drive in it." But a knight, that's a fixture of medieval European royalty. There were their equivalents all over the world, but a knight, specifically European. It started because Charlemagne, first Holy Roman Emperor, wanted to give
the
his
rapper. Okay, I'm with
yeah,
you.
unfortunately, yeah. He wanted to give his cavalry special little treats of land because of all the work they did helping him like conquer Europe.
Nice.
And so he'd be like, "Here's some land for you." And then one of his son or his grandson was like, "Let's make this hereditary." He was a real fan of that movie. He loved a Nepo baby. And he was like, "Let me combine those." It's hard, okay, because sometimes when people are writing about these things, they are using terms for ethnic groups that I'm like, should I be using that term? So Vikings, I'm going to say Hungarians, because they used a different word, and I don't know how cool that is. Muslims, Arabic people, people were invading different countries, as everyone was invading different countries back then. It was just what you did. And so they're like, we need a system, a feudal system, if you will, to like protect the peasants. So people whose job it is to go fight, and the peasants can work the land. So these were armored horsemen. They were important, and they were needed to defend the homes. And so they became vassals of other more powerful lords. So they kind of made like a land-based MLM to like defend themselves, where like the peasants, they were girl bossing before
LuLaRoe.
Literally gatekeeping too.
Gatekeeping, girl bossing, probably gaslighting.
Definitely.
Definitely using gaslights for sure.
So the peasants worked the land. They didn't pay rent on it. They lived on the land, but they gave their crops to the lord, and then the like their local lord had a higher lord that would usually go up to the king. But it got complicated. So like the king of France like didn't run all of France half the time. Like centralized countries are much later than we really think they are. But knights were nobility. I think that is key. They're the lowest role of the noble class, but they were nobles. So they looked down on poors and merchants and archers. And same. Like archers.
Archers. Gross.
They were often noble young boys were raised by foster mothers. And then at 7, they became a page, and then they were squires at 14. All this time, they were being educated and taught fighting and athletics. At 21, which was considered the age of adulthood, up until like Jane Austen times, like that was, you were an adult at 21, not 18. It was a looser definition of things back then, but that's when they would had their accolade or their knighthood, their knighting ceremony, and these were usually performed at a big holiday like Christmas or Easter, or maybe like a royal wedding, a Princess Switch royal wedding, And these were like, they did an all-night prayer vigil followed by like a ceremony, and there'd be like a feast. So knights were a big part of the ground floor of nobility, like making it happen. And they still are. The knights are still out there. They kind of fell out of fashion by like the Renaissance, as like guns and pikes and things that could stab a horse got bigger. Crossbows could go through armor. And so then it became more of a class thing and less of you actually ride out and fight. So knights persisted in the imagination due to this concept of chivalry, which we speak of all the time. Is chivalry dead? Is chivalry isn't dead? Chivalry was not a singular institution. It was a variety of different codes. But essentially it happened because you got a bunch of essentially rich frat boys with weapons running around. Sounds unsafe. And the peasants were bullied. Women were being bullied. They were starting wars. And the church was like, yikes, okay, the peasants, the women, we need to do something about this because this is not going well. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, who was a co-founder of the Templars, was one of the famous people who was like, we need to reform the knights or get rid of them because this is a disaster. So they invent chivalry, which is like a way to kind of make the institution of knighthood a religious institution of like codes. And that varied, but it'd be like loyalty, which you needed because if you didn't serve your liege lord, then what was going on? And then like generosity, courage, gentleness to people, your social inferiors, which would be peasants and all women, like this kind of hierarchy, but just like a way to be like, okay, you can have the hierarchy, but just don't be a dick about it. And so they also like don't fight and murder people on Sundays and holidays, please.
Yeah. You got to draw the line
so
somewhere.
Draw the line.
It's considerate.
Yeah, as Meg Ryan would say, because of God. Yeah. Chivalry often was strongestly like lived the most in literature, like the medieval romances, which were stories of like Charlemagne and Roland, and then like Le Morte d'Arthur and like Sir Galahad and the quest for the Holy Grail. Shout out to the Abbey Room at the Boston Public Library with the story of Sir Galahad on the walls.
It's like there.
It's pretty. It's where I take people when we visit. Let's go see the Boston Public Library. The thing is, chivalry always is an idealization of the past. So even in the actual Middle Ages, when it was like still kind of being practiced, it was like, think of the olden days. People used to be more chivalrous. Like men aren't men anymore. We need to go back to that. So chivalry is always in the past that we're trying to recreate. So nothing's changed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Eventually, also chivalry got more and more demanding. It's very like America Ferrera in the Barbie movie and like her speech of like, how can anyone live up to this? Because it was like, you have to be good, also good, not just good at fighting and noble and kind and religious, you gotta be good at sports and dancing and singing and poetry and courtly life. And again, it was always an ideal more than something people actually lived up to. But like Don Quixote, that whole thing was about critiquing how outdated, how impossible and fantastical chivalry was. But as like stories like of Camelot, so Galahad, Roland, Alexander the Great was somehow roped into this. As those stories got popular, people are like, oh, this is so cool. And the Victorians loved the shit out of chivalry and really pumped out these images and this ideas, this medieval revivalism. So that's why it really lives in our brains now. Another big thing for chivalry was the Crusades. Because now war and Christianity were like more officially linked. Like they had always kind of been like, how are we going to make this work out? And they're like, oh, we found a way. And then you get the holy orders of knights, like the Teutonic Order, the Knights of Malta, the Templars. Also, they're trying to get these horny, violent men out of Europe to ruin other people's lives.
Yeah, naturally.
Ship them off to Arabia?
Yeah, and Holy Land. And so, unfortunate. That, which was unfortunate, but I guess inevitable.
Amazing.
Perfect timing.
So that's knighthood. That's like a quick, down and dirty history of knighthood.
I'm sure we'll talk about it again in the future.
Yep. They come up. But let's talk about some historical aspects of Christmas that were brought up. We're not a history podcast, and this movie was not really meant to be historically accurate.
It wasn't?
Yeah. What?
Wait, hold on.
I just wanted to
movie.
I just wanted to have some fun and like talk about some of these concepts. Christmas trees. He starts talking about a Christmas tree at one point, and I'm like, those were not. No. So those were in maybe he was of Estonian or Latvian background. Some immigrants were happening because that's in the 14th, 15th century. Christmas trees started to pop up there, and then in Germany. But in Germany, they had them in towns. The rural areas and the Catholics were like, this is bougie Protestant shit. They did not fuck with Christmas trees. The Vatican did not get a Christmas tree until 1982.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You could be in theaters watching Sleeping Beauty, and the Pope had never had a Christmas tree before in the history of the world.
That's wild.
Yeah. But, Princess Henrietta of Nassau-Weilburg was a Protestant who was married into, like, the Habsburg family in Vienna. And she popularized it. So she was the leader of a lot of, like, noble women were the OG influencers. And they start to be like, look at this Christmas tree. And then it slowly starts to happen. But, like, France doesn't get a Christmas tree until 165 years before the release of Chicken Little.
Yeah. So what the fuck is he talking about?
I mean, this isn't the only thing that he seems to know about that definitely did not exist in 1334.
No.
Yeah. Now I get why she wasn't a history teacher or
Yeah,
an English
that's-
teacher. She had to be completely clueless about all of this romantical
stuff.
stuff he was talking about that didn't make any sense.
Because in England, it's actually Queen Charlotte from the show Bridgerton who really
famously,
she brought the Christmas tree to England, but it remained kind of like a royal circle thing until like royal famous influencer Queen Victoria and her German husband Albert really popularized it.
right.
We had Christmas trees, white wedding dresses from her, and
Mhm.
so it got really popular. There's a brief dip. The Christmas tree stands were worried. World War I, people were like, "We hate Germans," but by then, afterwards, the Christmas tree was firmly entrenched in the English-speaking world.
Mm.
So that's why we have them
So World War
today.
II, they were like, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, they're like, it's fine. Oranges. Oranges are mentioned in this movie. And in their defense, it is an old-timey Christmas thing in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
In 1390, we do get references to bitter oranges, from India in people's like kitchens, but they're bitter. We don't get sweet ones until the 15th century from China and the 16th century from Portugal. The bean in the cake, though, they were popped off with that. That's pretty accurate. Putting a bean in the cake, king's cake, that was big for Twelfth Night, from the Shakespeare play that inspired She's the Man.
Yes.
Like
Important.
Epiphany, January 6th, the day of insurrection, but also the day of the three wise men, the three kings. So that was like the end of the Christmas season. That was if you'd be king for a day if you got the bean. And that's where we get like, Rosco de Reyes, a lot of people in the Latino community celebrate that tradition, which is essentially the king's cake on January 6th. And then like you have Mardi Gras people do king's cake, but that's kind of a switcheroo of traditions. But so that's a thing, and that was around then. I also was trying to look up English.
Language.
I went down a rabbit hole. Middle English. Middle
Middle-
English.
yes,
They would have been
we're-
speaking Middle English.
Middle English, which is, I just want to clarify that Shakespeare is considered early modern English.
I know.
Yes.
We must have read the exact same article because
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
deep into it.
Because this is like Chaucer times.
Yes.
So like
I had to read Chaucer in the original in college, and I'm like, they'd not be speaking the same language. Like
No.
they can't understand each other. Like maybe a couple small things, but she'd be like, what? Like the whole time.
That's like, I mean, like Spanish or French. We have Romance language words, so you can listen if you don't know anything and eventually pick something up. But
Exactly.
It's but I guess I let Narnia get away with it.
But that is like so far removed into the supernatural realm that I'm like, that's fine.
Sure.
I don't care. It's stuff like
Suspension
this
of
where it's like,
disbelief.
this is supposed to be taking place in like real, like there's nothing else supernatural about
Ohio.
this. It's in Ohio.
Yeah. Like, we'll talk about it, but that is my main gripe with this movie is that they have some things that are like so grounded, and then other things where I'm just like, but then there's this. They would not be speaking the same language. So yeah.
See, to me, that's a fun nitpick, but I really
It
don't
is,
care.
but it drives me insane.
Yeah. Well, there
Like-
were just so many missed opportunities for there to be like little confusion.
Yes.
And instead, she's just like, oh, yeah, this sweater belongs to my ex-boyfriend. And he knows what an ex-boyfriend is. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
what?
Yeah, I think it's also because they're trying to smooth over some things that would be problematic about dating a medieval knight.
Well,
True. That
yeah.
and they're like, you know what? We have to somehow stuff a plot in here somewhere. So it can't all be just explaining modern concepts to this medieval man.
One last bit of lore. He mentions he was knighted by King Edward III, son of bisexual disaster Edward II, and girl boss icon child bride Isabella of France, the she-wolf of France, who later overthrew her husband with the help of her lover because she was a child bride and he was more interested in his age-appropriate male lovers, but then he took all her money from her father and gave it to his lovers, and she's like, I'm 12 and poor and broke in another country, help me. And then eventually, as an adult woman, she got a lover. They overthrew him. She ruled for a while, then Edward III overthrew her. So but she's a French princess. And that's how he had a claim to the French throne. And he started the 100 Years' War, where he tried to take control of France. A war so brutal that would kill so many people. St. Michael the Archangel, St. Catherine, who was tied to a wheel, and St. Margaret, who ripped herself out of a dragon, would intervene by choosing a teenage girl to save France. And that's how we get Joan of Arc.
Oh, great. Good.
Yeah. So he's the origin story villain of Joan of Arc's story. But I think by the time she's around, it was 100 Years' War, so I don't think he was king anymore.
Probably not. Yeah.
But yeah, that is one of the most brutal European conflicts of the period. Yeah.
Circle called him like he was just but also fearsome or something like that. But
he was, for an English king, he's relatively popular with historians because he was okay at being king. You know, like the country didn't collapse.
Totally.
Yeah. But he did start a war. But I think I think Shakespeare has the play with it on St. Crispin's Day, where he's invading France. Yeah. And you're like, how do these French peasants feel about that? Evidently not great, because Joan of Arc. Yeah, but that's some history, some lore. But let's
also time travel, mysteriously.
Time travel, yes.
Crohn's, not Crohn's disease, old Crohn's.
Old Crohn's in the woods.
Handing him glowing discs that look like some sort of
medallion.
Futuristic. I was like, if someone approached me with that in the year 2023, I'd be like, get that away from me. And in 1334, he's like, definitely let me take that. Like, what? He's not skeptical at all.
Yeah.
Is this the NCU, the Netflix Christmas universe? So
is that one of the I don't even know what you would call them, the Netflix stones in the medallion.
So maybe there's magic here.
That's the time control one, because Marvel has one of those, right?
Oh yeah.
Can't remember what it's called. I'm so far out of that lore, it's not even funny.
I saw the Marvels and liked it, but they're like, start referring to these alien races, and I think it's gaslighting because they refer to them like I'm supposed to know what that is. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disney World, and that is the most that I have interacted with Marvel.
Love that. I love that for you, literally, because
thank you.
It's too much content.
They expect me to remember plot points of movies that came out when I was
10 years ago.
Like, it's like, oh, you were straight and now you've come out and have been married and have a whole new life. Well, remember that movie that you watched once way before that? Remember the details? And you're like, oh, vaguely.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. But let's talk about a movie I do remember. I did not have to watch a YouTube video to remember the order of the plot events, even though I just watched this movie 2 nights ago.
Can we also put plot events in quotes?
Yeah. Night Before Christmas, we open in 1333 in England, in Norwich, which has the highest capita of medieval churches of any town in England.
Oh,
fun fact.
Yeah, I was watching a video on architecture and learned that. So we meet Sir Cole, which I should have looked up if Cole.
That was my first question. That was literally my first question.
I'm like, wouldn't his name be like Thomas Edward?
Yeah, I feel like he would be named after a king. Like Cole is like what you name like a surfer bro from Costa Mesa. You know, like you're not.
Yeah, I was like, this is a choice, because especially because it's England, so like the names they had would be recognizable names to us. Yeah. Thomas, Edward, Martin.
I think my theory is that his name is Sir Cole. Circle. You say it fast. It's Netflix. It's subliminal messaging to watch The Circle on Netflix.
Oh, this is one big
telling you.
All right. So Sir Cole is they're falconing. They're finding an eagle. It's Christmas Eve. His brother's about to be knighted. In the woods, he meets an old crone, and she's like, "You need to find your quest." Because that's an official part of knighthood. That is not.
You need to find your destiny.
Your quest, your destiny, and you need to find it by Christmas Eve, or you'll never be a true knight.
And spoiler alert, your destiny is Ohio.
So, what did he do to deserve that? Either that, or I guess he was being saved from the one plague to face another.
Wow.
He made some monkey's paw wish at some point to be spared from an upcoming plague, and they're like, ha! Well, yeah. So he's sent to find his destiny, which I guess is true love.
Well, we don't know yet.
You don't know yet, but
I don't even think I know by the end of the movie.
Meanwhile, Brooke Winters, a science teacher in Ohio, is telling this young girl, Paige, she got a bad grade on her midterm, and she's like, Paige is like, well, Grayson broke up with me. I thought he was my prince. And she's like, you know what? He's a frog. True love isn't real. Hey, child, stop believing in true love. Focus on your science homework.
Outside of that being problematic, stepping outside of the plot, they did that girl so dirty with her wig. It was
oh my God.
It was cruel. Everyone else had great hair. Poor Paige is in an ill-fitting wig.
Yeah.
Made me upset. It made me upset.
I know.
And then you have Vanessa Hudgens telling her that love's a fantasy.
Love's a fantasy.
Also, she looked like she was like 11 years old. How was she in a serious committed relationship?
Yeah.
And she's like, love's a fantasy. And she's like, it seems like there's a lot of those kinds of guys these days, which is setting up chivalry is in the past. And we need to find a guy from the past. Which, when I read that, honestly, on Wikipedia, I'm going to be honest, I made sure there were citations, but when I was reading about the history of chivalry and stuff, which is, it's like some of these things, okay, I have a familiarity with, but let me like revisit. And I was like, there's like chivalry is always in the past. And I was like, that's what this movie is about. That's wild. That it was true in 13, whatever, and now it's true now.
So that Grayson kid, he just broke up with her?
Yeah.
We never meet Grayson.
We never meet Grayson. We don't know. Yeah. Maybe they just didn't have anything in common. Maybe, you know, he's a kid and he's like, actually, I don't want to be in a relationship.
Yeah, maybe he's
I want to play T-ball, you know?
Yeah, T-ball. Yeah.
I don't know what you're playing in Ohio.
But like, you're just automatically assuming this kid is bad just because he broke up with her. Like, people who break up with people aren't always bad. You know, sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like Vanessa Hudgens' character really jumped the gun on that.
She crosses a lot of lines with Paige.
She just really was like, yeah, love sucks. It doesn't exist.
She's like, my parents love each other. It's like,
yeah. Like, oh my God. She would be like, well, what about my parents? Then you're down a rabbit hole, Vanessa Hudgens. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, she is. There's so many scenes. Oh, poor Paige. All right, so
yeah, poor Paige. This whole movie.
She has to pick up her the obligatory cute child, usually a girl in these movies. She has to pick her up to go to Santa's castle, allegedly medieval themed park with very little castle going on.
Yeah, it looks like a little village.
I never read that it was medieval.
No.
Yeah, there is more medieval accoutrement at my
so
Somerset
Cullen, you're in
Mall.
front of it.
Yeah.
That's a barn.
It's a barn.
There's a gingerbread, an adult-sized gingerbread over there.
There's a big polar bear.
Yeah, there's Mrs. Claus's cookies.
The only medieval thing about this place.
There's every once in a while there's like other performing knights.
There are?
Because he takes their sword to do the police brutality.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did to do the police brutality. Yeah.
Hazards again.
Citizen's arrest.
Of feudalism. So you have a Republican boyfriend. What about a feudal boyfriend?
Yeah.
The way human rights, he doesn't know what those are.
Well, I mean, I don't think she cares. She's a cop's kid.
True.
Did you miss that detail?
They really had that one. They really yeah, but because I didn't till I was watching that YouTube video, they mentioned it, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I guess that's because the guest house. Okay, we gotta get there.
I have so many thoughts about the guest house.
So they're in line to see Santa and Mrs. Claus. Brooke and her, I don't remember the niece's name, the cute child, Claire, and she sells Santa. She wants a puppy or the little girl, because also earlier they see Vanessa Hudgens' ex-boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
And he's not Austin Butler, but
we also do we ever run into him?
We never talk to him.
We see him at the diner later, but we never talk to him.
Okay.
You don't want to pay someone for speaking.
They weren't They did never date. It was all in her head. That's what I think happened.
Ooh, I love that.
Because we never bump into him and have like the awkward, like, oh, hi, you're here. It's just, he's just in the distance. He's just some guy.
He cheated on her.
He cheated on her, which I think her
or
having
she's stalking him.
Her having a shitty ex-boyfriend that this night could do comedic hijinks to, if we're playing this for more of a comedy, would be fun.
Yeah.
Like, I think that'd be a more interesting conflict than the kind of like, I think this movie has a relatively interesting, if insane, premise, but then they just are like, gotta hit all the classic beats.
Yeah, they try to play it too straight. I'm like, had they done like a fake dating thing where like she was like pretending he was her boyfriend, but he couldn't speak normal English? Like that would have been fun.
A little bit of Bill and Ted.
Yes. They took away all the fun conflict. They were like, the night is here and that's normal.
Yeah, I think it would have been, because there's some things that he does later that I'm like, okay, you could have used this to then like just add a little bit of
so I think she should have been a history teacher or an English teacher. It would have been so much more interesting. And they'd have shit in common. I'm done.
He's like, oh, you have Chaucer?
There could be like a My Fair Lady aspect to it where she has to teach him how to speak.
Love it. Let's write this movie.
Because this
call
movie...
up Ted Sarandos. We're like, we have notes.
Years later. I mean, this movie was definitely pitched by title. Someone came up with the title and they made a movie after it.
Yeah.
And so Cole appears after Claire drags Vanessa Hudgens with an inch of her life and is like, Santa, my aunt is a cuck. I need you to get her a new boyfriend that won't stray, that won't cheat on her, Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, and Santa and Mrs. Claus handled that like pros. They're like, oh, okay. Well, it's Christmas. Anything can happen.
But right now, Mrs. Claus is the old crone.
Yeah, that's deeply confusing. Why would she need to be there?
She can inhabit the body of any old woman at any time.
Just so that guy can run into him going, crone!
Yeah, so then he appears. Oh, also, the David is in line. Our deserving poor is in front of them.
Yes, deserving poor.
I want a bike, the little head shake.
Yeah.
Telling us they're poor.
We'll see. So then Cole appears, girls take a selfie, he's confused, he's bewildered. He's bewitched, bothered, and bewildered, as one would expect.
Yes.
And then Vanessa runs into him, spills hot chocolate on him. He then takes his gauntlet, his iron gauntlet, dips it in the hot chocolate and licks it. And from that moment on, is a hot chocolate addict. He calls it mead. And I'm like, there were other beverages. He would know what is mead and what isn't.
What is not. He would be like, what is this thing?
Also, it would not taste good, I feel like, on an iron gauntlet.
Maybe it would taste like pennies.
Has he never had chocolate before? I should have looked this up.
Well, I did look this up because I wanted to know when because I was like, hot chocolate was invented by like the Aztecs.
Yeah.
Like, it's like originated in Mexico and like Central America. Yeah. And so I was like, when it didn't get to Europe until the 1500s. So like he definitely had never had, and that's like the first time cocoa beans were brought to Europe.
So he's never had chocolate.
I don't think so.
And he never had oranges. So dessert to him is what? Strawberries, some cream.
Berries, some sort of berries.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what Sleeping Beauty was out picking in those woods. That's the only dessert they had.
But more than that, more than the dipping his hand in the hot chocolate.
His iron gauntlet.
Oh, sorry,
his Thanos glove.
I'm so sorry. His iron gauntlet. The thing that was really, I was like, this man probably smells terrible.
Oh God,
they don't bathe.
No.
Like,
yeah.
How bad must he smell? And then he's dipping his nasty hands into my drink.
Yeah.
Well, germs hadn't been invented yet either.
Also, like, women are in pants. Speaking of Joan of Arc, that's what they got her on. They couldn't get her on anything else. They could just be, you wear pants in prison to avoid sexual assault. That's what they burned her for. Because they couldn't get her to admit any heresy. Yeah. So like women in pants, women with their hair uncovered. That was a big thing. Like, you know what? And it would be uncomfortable to watch him go around and be like, look at all these floozies, why are women addressing me?
Well, I
Why,
also thought immediately when he saw the cop, I was like, he would immediately be like, oh, a Moor. Because like he doesn't know about Black people very much.
He would be racist in the way like pre-colonialism, where it was just like, oh, you're weird and different, less of like the brain size weird bullshit that they pulled later, but more of just like, oh, like what's this, which that would also be deeply like, uncomfortable,
not fun. So I get it. Thank you for not including it in your film.
And if he had known, like if he had experience with darker skinned people, it's because he went on the Crusades.
Totally.
They have to find that line between, okay, what kind of realism do we actually want to play with from the medieval era, and what is all the bad stuff that we don't want to hit? And I think the balance is fine.
Yeah, because I think,
but it is so fun to be like, okay, well, how come they are speaking the same language?
Yeah, because I think he knows something magical has happened.
Well, I would hope so.
I mean, he seems to have fully accepted that he time traveled, like real quick.
So he's kind of like, okay, this is what people do. So he's relatively open-minded. He's like, this may not be how things are done for me, but okay, this is how people are dressing, is what they look like. Okay.
That's a good point.
So I think, because it's like, I wouldn't want to watch a movie where he shows up to be racist and sexist. Because even if
that's
it was
a different film. That is a different film.
Yeah. That's a different film that even if it was portrayed negatively, white supremacists would like use the clip for memes. So, thank you for Vanessa and Brad and the writers and directors of this movie for not giving us that.
Yeah.
So he gets hit by a car. So Vanessa Hudgens.
Vanessa Hudgens hits him with her car.
I have to say, I will not tolerate Subaru slander. She is driving a Subaru. I'm a loyal Subaru driver. Okay, you can't hit a person in a Subaru. Those things will stop themselves. I can't even like drive past a hedge and it's like all the alarms are going off inside. And I drove a Subaru at this time still, and I know what technology existed. And so I was pissed. I was pissed to see that.
2019 inaccuracies, let alone 14th century.
Put her in a Toyota, and then I believe that she hit him in the snow, but not in a Subaru. Also, she says, this feels like driving through an avalanche. And I was like, does she know what an avalanche is?
Does she know what a blizzard is? Because it's a blizzard. That's what you're driving through.
She's from Ohio. She knows what a blizzard is. God.
So she can't
continue.
She can't see. She hits him. It's very Regina George. He's in armor, so he's okay. Because I guess she's driving slow because it's snowy. And then she's like, "Oh my gosh!" And she's like, "I think he thinks he's a knight." And then Officer Stevens shows up, takes him to the hospital. She is in no legal trouble for hitting this man.
No.
Yeah, I mean, after they get back from the hospital, she literally tells the cop, like, I can't believe I hit him with my car. I was like, girl, lawyer up, shut up and lawyer up. What are you doing?
Also, the HIPAA violations just through the roof. He just walks out into the waiting room and just yells, his scans are clear.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be doing that.
And he's walking around a hospital with a sword.
Yeah, but they think it's just a costume, right? They're like, oh, he's just one of the costume people, it's fine.
And he was hit, and they think it's like some CTE, some concussion,
some amnesia. I was like, I don't think this is how amnesia works. I don't think amnesia replaces your entire personality with medieval knighthood.
It's giving elf, it's giving splash, it's giving enchanted. He's like, I'm a knight, and so he kisses her hand and does this big gesture that he only does for her, where he's like, Sir Cole, and she's like, oh, Cole, and he's like, call me Sir Cole.
Circle.
And
watch the circle on Netflix.
Can you play it in reverse? It's just watch the circle, watch the circle, watch the circle.
And they're like, okay. And so he's just walking out and about with his sword, and Officer Stevens is like, I guess we'll spend the night at the station. And he's like, no, I'll sleep under a tree. And she's like, which, to be fair, okay, I guess Europe was going through a little ice age, but I have heard that North America is much colder. But Vanessa is like, or Brooke, that's her name, I guess. But she's like, you can't do that. Not want to have a perfectly good guest house. A guest house.
on my teacher's salary, I somehow can pay the taxes on this house that I presumed is paid off because
Also,
she couldn't
like,
afford it.
her decision-making skills, like, there is a strange white man who you don't know. You seemingly know everyone in the town because you're greeting them all like by name. But there's a strange white man who you don't know
with
who's
a weapon
dressed as a knight who thinks he is a knight. And you're like, come stay in my house where I live alone.
Yeah.
Why are you giving him those details? This is a murder mystery about to happen.
But she's like, but that jawline. She's like, you
those
know,
curls,
rural Ohio. As you know, if once you've already been cheated on, I guess she's like, who's left? Who's left to fuck?
Anyone who looks at me.
It's like, you okay, hot. You maybe think you're a knight, but at least you're hot. So she takes him to the guest house, and on their way,
which looks like its own just house. Like a guest house. I'm thinking, it's like the shed in the back that has like a studio vibe. No, this is separate rooms. This is a full 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath house.
Yeah.
And
behind her McMansion.
She inherited it from her parents. Also, are her parents dead? Did they ever establish that?
Yeah. Her mom was sick and died, and her dad died a couple months later, which sucks. Like, that's oof.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So she slips though, and she's caught. He catches her, and she's like, and they hold the moment, and the local floozy sees and is like,
I loved her. The redhead.
Yeah.
The redhead.
They couldn't commit to this movie having a villain, but they just had this woman who's just like, they're like, she's the town whore.
Yeah.
She's actually
Tori, bad redheaded person.
But she's at the end pretty nice and respectful. So you're like,
so Vanessa Hudgens
backs down real quick.
Yeah, Vanessa Hudgens is literally just like, she's a whore and I hate her because from high school, and she turns out to be fine.
Yeah, it's like you let a hot man live in your guest house.
Who's the whore now?
On a date. Who's the whore now? It's also like we could have a really uncomfortable conversation about what's a whore with this knight from the 14th century.
It's true.
Would he be offended that she's like, she has property?
In the medieval period, women could have property.
Oh, okay.
It's the Renaissance. Like, Roman culture was not about women having property. But
can't wait to talk about that reference.
But Celtic, and Germanic cultures, like, women had property since early times. So I mean, it wasn't like feminist utopia, right? Obviously, but it'd be like, oh, you're rich, you could inherit your rich dad's stuff, like that kind of thing. So they're in the house. She shows him what Alexa is.
I loved the Alexa slander. I loved it. I absolutely
Lady Alexa plays. That's what he calls it.
That I see. The thing is, I liked that joke. I thought that was funny.
It was funny.
Cute.
And he thought the freezer had the temperature of outside, and so he's like, "Oh, a magic picture box, like the crone foretold."
Yeah, that's only playing Netflix holiday movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she teaches. There's so much has happened since the 1300s. What does she teach him? Binge watching.
Yeah.
She's like, printing press. Who cares? So she's like, I should get you some new clothes. My ex-boyfriend left some lying around. Which
yes, ex-boyfriend. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he just goes, thank him for me. And she's like, well, he's my ex. It's like, he doesn't know what any of these words mean.
Yeah. A betrothed, a fiance,
Right.
And so then she goes to get him clothes and comes back with the obligatory shirtless scene where he comes out and he's hot and, and she's like, ooh, checking him out. She's like, I'll just leave these here. And he's like, thank you. And I'm like, for him to appear with no chaperones in front of her like that is, I guess he's very progressive. That is a slut move. He knows he's being slutty.
Also, this may sound creepy, but I want to see him in the shower only because I want to see him figure it out.
Yes,
I know.
Because he's like, oh, how do I boil water for a bath? And she's like, you can just use the bathroom.
Yeah, because he starts a fire in the front yard later. just
He
kill
also
a
just like
skunk.
puts a towel around his waist as we do. And I'm like, I don't think they used towels. They would put those like
No.
nightgown things on after they got out of the bath.
Yeah. They did.
So many
This is
confusing
when
things.
underwear was becoming a thing, so he would know what that is.
Okay.
But he wouldn't know what a washer and dryer is to clean it.
And you hooked your pants into your underwear. That's how it like stayed up. Your leggings, your meggings. Yeah. So I mean, again, these are nitpicks. But it is that the like, okay, him appearing shirtless in front of her is slutty move. And I know he has a very innocent face. Like that face that he like that has never heard Maroon 5's Moves Like Jagger. And I get the appeal. If I like you could date someone who's never experienced Maroon 5 in their life. What a blessing. So, you know, there's some other things, baggage that's coming with dating someone from that time. But that is a plus that this movie doesn't bring up, but would be big for me. She gets him some food. They go to a diner. And he's like, "What you?"
Yeah, she stops him from cooking a skunk in her front yard.
Yeah, he lights a fire and is trying to
spear a skunk,
which is a fun family story of mine. You know, this is the side of the family that helped build the Epcot ball, but is my great like so I had a family member was trying to cook squirrel because that's what they did, and then another family member was upset that they were cooking squirrel while company was over because it's like we're bougie enough that we can eat store-bought meat, we don't have to eat squirrel with company. Yeah.
A dilemma most families face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When to have the squirrel, like when to meal prep the squirrel. Yeah. She's like, let's get you food. They go to a diner.
He calls a waitress a wench.
A wench.
Love it.
That was, again, a good bit.
In Ohio. That would get him stabbed, I think.
And he because he doesn't know how the radio works, and then she's like, "Oh, press away." I'm like, "Don't let this man press buttons on your car."
But she lets him drive later.
That I can't.
To me, honestly, that is the biggest suspension of disbelief moment in this entire movie. Like,
you have to.
That's
you have
what
to just
loses me.
But you have to give over to it, you know.
But she lets him. She's like, "Do you know how to drive a car?" And he's like, "Well, I can ride a horse." And she's like, "Okay."
Well, but she's still thinking like, okay, he's just has like this weird personality disorder. He should remember how to drive a car. You know,
it's like don't let someone in a like people who have concussions should also not be driving heavy machinery.
And then he like knows how to use the gear shift. He knows how to use a backup camera. He knows what side of the road you're supposed to drive on, but parallel parking is the thing that gets him where he drives up on the sidewalk. It's like,
you know, that's kind of impressive of him, like go off that he could figure that much out so quickly.
Again, and we don't get any scene inside the car of him being like, okay, you know, like, no.
Which again could be funny, but
comedy.
This
if he could compare everything to like, okay, because he says like, okay, the steering wheel is like the reins for the horse. Like, if he's like by himself, you know, and he's just like trying to figure it out and try to compare it. It's like, okay, well, this is for this part of the horse or whatever. Comedy.
I could write a hilarious 13-episode CW comedy season of a night trapped in a small town.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. See, R.I.P. the CW, dead like Chivalry, but it'd be a fun time.
Yeah, that's a diner,
and he's like, what, you eat dogs, hot dogs, what? And so she explains food. They're eating. She's like,
he was about to spear a skunk and he like draws the line at dog. Like, I'm just,
I mean, they had pet dogs though.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, but
I'm not pro eating dogs.
No. Avid dog lover, Tori Coyne.
I need to clear my name. I know my dog's been driving me insane during the recording of this, but I don't believe in eating them.
She's like, so like, do you have an ex? And he's like, oh, like the Lady Matilda, like it didn't work out. I loved her dearly. So what? I don't know what's good. Maybe her dowry wasn't big enough. Who knows?
Maybe
she got betrothed to someone else. Maybe she died.
Maybe she died.
Early plague.
She died of the plague.
Yeah. She's swinging food. We don't call people wenches. She mentions her ex, and that he broke her heart. And he
walks into the cafe, right?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, let me thank him."
He cheated on her with
the whore, not the main town whore,
not
another
Allison,
whore,
not Allison, a different whore.
It's just wild.
Not the town whore, the town skank. And then he's like, oh, let me like go after him, like that he should dishonor you. And she's like, oh no, we
Wait,
don't do
isn't
that here.
this-
There's laws against it.
This is after
There's a
she
different
calls him the
scene.
douche.
Yeah.
Yes.
When she gives him the clothes, she's like,
Thank
these
the
are from the
douche.
douche. Thank the douche for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, oh, let me.
Yeah, and then we missed the opportunity for him to call the boyfriend douche. Thinking
Yes,
it was like
that's what I was thinking.
his
It was like,
title.
oh my, yes,
Like-
like Lord Douche. Oh,
Yeah.
that was so funny.
I know.
Him-
And then they could have gotten a little scuffle. You
Yeah,
know?
him wanting to kill him and then being like, oh, he's too pathetic. Like he's beneath my chivalry to kill.
Yeah.
Like that. There's comedy here, and I feel like this movie had to be written in like a week because
Right.
Oh, that's generous. That is generous.
because there's so much
48
fun you could
hours.
have with this premise
Editing and revisions included.
that they didn't have fun with. And like the movie is fine, it's fun, but it's
Right.
like it could actually be like way fun. There's so many
Yeah.
missed things. So okay, so also her sister comes by the next day 'cause she's like, who's this hot insane knight?
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Because her
bring
husband is out solving the case.
yeah,
We don't know what case or what kind of lawyer he is, but he's gone.
he's gone. So she shows up with some muffins for him. And he's like, oh, thank you. He doesn't do the whole bow and hand kiss for her. But he is
Mm-mm.
like, oh, you're beautiful, beautiful sister. You know, he's charming. And she's like, oh. She's like, you have to go open a boutique.
Yeah, her boutique. She owns
Everyone
a boutique.
always owns a boutique in these
a
movies.
boutique,
There
a
has to be a boutique.
bakery.
I am
diner
fascinated
that's
though by small town
bankrupt.
boutiques. Whenever you go to like a downtown area, like with the kind with like all those little shops, you're like, who runs this? What is their life story?
Yeah,
Brooks is
Why do
it.
they run it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which medieval knight is in their immediate family?
Yes.
So, or maybe you just have a princess's identical twin. I just, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So then she's like, okay, I have to go. This is TV. And so he watches because then she brings him the clothes after he watches
Yeah.
TV. And
Mm-hmm.
he learns how to say clothes like, these threads are lit fire.
Right.
She also
Alright.
says she has to go to do all of her Christmas chores. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are Christmas chores?
No idea.
And I guess shopping.
But that's an errand. I
Yeah.
guess a chore
You would say
is like,
Christmas chore. You would say, I am going to go
Christmas
Christmas shopping.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless she hates giving.
Maybe
Maybe
she-
that's like,
Aha. Maybe she didn't want to explain commerce. I don't know. But he pulls a splash where he learns how to talk from TV.
right.
Uh-huh.
I always think of that. They're delicious and nutritious and so good for you. That's my favorite quote from Splash. And it is a funny bit that they could have done more with
Yeah.
because he does the little voice. And I'm like, but the voice he's doing, it's like he would learn this from TikTok,
Right.
not
Right.
from TV.
Not from a Netflix.
He also was watching like the Rob Lowe
Yeah.
Charlotte
Yeah.
from Sex and the City.
Yes.
I remember
like
that one
African
coming
Safari
out. I remember that one
Christmas
coming out
movie.
this year. Yeah, I don't know where he's learning this, but it was funny. It was a good bit.
Mhm.
He's like, you have a funny dialect. Yeah, but R.I.P. to lit. I used to live by that phrase. But I don't say it anymore. R.I.P.
Mm.
Chivalry and lit. So
Both dead.
both dead. So then they're like, oh, he's like, why don't you watch a show with me? He's trying to Netflix and chill her.
Yep.
And Brooke Winters is like, okay. And then she's like, oh, you've become quite the binge watcher. I'm like, oof. And then they watch it all, and they fall asleep next to each other.
She's got her head on his shoulder at one point.
This man was a
Love.
medieval slut.
He said
Yeah.
it's 2019. All bets are off.
All bets are
Yeah.
off.
He's like, women are wearing pants. I'm going to cuddle with her. That's right. I'm going to do it.
And she's like, so much for one more episode. It makes you think, did you ever watch Portlandia?
No.
No. There's a great bit about them binge watching Battlestar Galactica and going insane. But they're like, I gotta do my Christmas chores. And he's like, let me help. So they're doing the tree. They talk about her dead mom and that she used to make an ornament.
So wait,
for
her
them.
Christmas chores are putting up the tree. That's a chore. Man, that sucks.
She hates Christmas. That's the undercurrent of this film. She hates Christmas. She hates giving.
Yet she has a charity dinner
There's
every
always
year.
a charity gala
Where she wears
in
a
these
gown.
movies.
Where she wears a gown.
They
to
Yeah.
always,
charity
they're
gala.
like, how do we get a gown in this? A charity gala. It's the Lindsay Lohan one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Gretchen Wieners did one where she like comes in a fancy dress to save the orphans, but the orphans are actually working the event. Yeah. So they're talking about her dead mom and that she should make an ornament and hide it in the tree for them. He talked about his Christmas traditions, his knight's vows to find
This
his
is where he
quest.
talks about, or no.
Edward. Talks about King Edward.
Oh, yeah. He talks
his...
about Christmas, how he decorates Christmas trees later at the Christmas tree farm.
And because I forget they went shopping and he Christmas tree shopping. He cuts down an axe in one. Yeah. Cuts down a tree with one swoop of the axe.
He's a man.
And then that guy in the back goes, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And then he does it. And then like the couple's like, oh, cute. And they kiss. And it's like this cute little romantic moment that they don't share together. And he's sad.
Yeah. He wants love.
Circle likes Vanessa Hudgens.
But the thing that I don't feel like they've ever had a conversation. Like they've exchanged information.
Yes.
But like they've never actually spoken to one another about, hopes, dreams, favorite color. Like, but they're
middle names.
Yeah.
Last names.
Right.
Because he's explaining his vows, his quest, and his family. And when he mentions his mother being a seamstress, and this is where I was like, wait, he's noble. His mother would embroider. She may be, she's not a seamstress.
She wouldn't be making his clothes.
Yeah. When people talk about women, people will be like, before women could work, I'm like, women have always been working.
Yeah.
But class was a big factor in what kind of job you were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she would be running the manor. Women would carry keys on their belt. I remember I learned this because the Lego Queen had this, and my dad explained it to me. They would have keys on their belt for the spice cabinet because spices were like one of the most expensive things in the house.
Ooh.
So they were the only ones with access because they like managed the estate.
Interesting.
Yeah. So not a seamstress because I think they're implying that he's like from a poor family and like
they were definitely trying to make it seem like he and his brother were like on the come up by becoming knights. And I was like, I don't know that's how knighthood works.
No, this was nepotism. This is like nobility is just obvious nepotism. You could get promoted if you had fought in a lot of wars. Killed a lot of people. So they talk about the Christmas trees, Christmas traditions, and then he's like, can I drive your car? Your iron horse?
Like, here you go.
And this is the biggest leap of the movie. I'm like, why can't she just be like, why don't I drive you wherever you want to go?
Yeah.
It doesn't result in anything interesting because I remember that scene transitions so sharply to the next day. It's December, whatever, 2020. I was like, what?
Well, she's like, watching him drive away. I'm like, he's driving a death machine. He doesn't know what it is. You see the way he backs out of that driveway in the snow? I was like... Yeah, those are not plowed roads.
No.
Those are rough roads.
He's going to spin out.
He's going to kill someone.
I mean, not in a Subaru, you guys have to remember. He is in a Subaru.
He's in the safest vehicle possible.
He's going to kill somebody and be like, I've done it before. And she's like, what? He's like,
I ran over someone with my horse before.
Yeah, and then because he's at the Christmas thing, he's looking for the crone. He's harassing Mrs. Claus. Santa gives him advice.
Stop calling my wife a crone.
Love that.
And he gives him advice about like, you gotta believe when things get dark. And I'm like, there's also great St. Nicholas Father Christmas bits you could be using.
Right.
Yes.
Like.
But no.
Every single opportunity that's handed to them, they say, I'm good.
Like, he knows Santa Claus. He knows this Dutch figure. Then she meets him there and they talk about like believing. And she's like, you got to believe in your quest and we'll find him. So they're like walking around the drinking hot chocolate, hiding from her ex, talking about their Christmases, the oranges and half pennies and trees. And he makes a comment about her virtue when they're talking about the ex.
Oh.
Because he's like, oh, if he broke your betrothal and spoiled your virtue.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Yikes.
And the thing is that, that's be so unhinged. But for him, that would be like an incredibly normal thing. Like he's not even he's just like, oh, if that happened, if he like dishonored you, I should go kill him.
Yeah.
And that's like for his time period, a very kind of like kind, thoughtful, like response to the fact that she may not be a virgin. But like that's, you know, there are things when you date someone with different political or religious or cultural backgrounds you have to consider. And a feudalist
in a feudalist, non-feudalist relationship.
Yeah, we don't know her affiliation.
There may be some explaining of it's the sexual revolution. Yeah.
Women's suffrage.
You can't think about it too hard though, because then you have to like imagine what their sex life will be like, and it's dark. Like it is dark if you go that far.
Yeah.
Oh God,
that's upsetting.
You
know what?
It's dark. It is dark.
She makes a comment about him being a Renaissance man, but she's lucky he wasn't, because medieval period you didn't have legal, you didn't own.
She calls him a Renaissance man. He should be like, the what?
The what? Because in the Renaissance,
he's like, yeah, that's me.
In the Renaissance and in ancient Rome, you owned your family members if you were a man. Your children, your wife, were your property. Now, functionally, it was pretty similar in the Middle Ages, but legally, they were not your property. They were their own human beings. So in a way, she's lucky he's not a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
So I think it was still considered, like, abusing your wife was still considered a form of abuse. But what would be considered abusing, probably a lot less strict than Brooke Winters deserves.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
not to suggest she deserves any type of abuse.
No, that's what I mean. It's like
not to Matt Rife, Brooke Winters.
Yeah. What I mean is, she deserves no abuse. And the medieval period was a little more lenient in what they considered acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
So she's like, he seems very nice. But you know, these are conversations I would have before I ask someone to travel across time for me. I'd be like, so, you know, what if we have a daughter? What if we have a son? You know? Yeah, you were sent away at 7.
Can you read?
Yeah, can you read?
Yeah.
You know what these words are? Can you pay tax? You have no social security number.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't think that
no
far
identity.
Either. He didn't go to college. He's not like, what job is he going to do?
He's going to be a baker or a cop.
A cop? That's scary, but you know, Officer Stevens will accept him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with cops, you have to at least have like a high school diploma or a GED, I think. So you have to have some sort of education.
They're gonna say, what's biology?
I don't know though, because every single time there's a crime, it's only Officer Stevens pulling up. Like that man seems to be the only police officer.
Maybe
so
he's like, I'll hire anyone at this point.
He's like, I just need people. It's rough out here in these streets.
Use a weapon. If you want to use your sword, that's fine, as long as you get the job done.
That'd be a great comic book.
Now I want to see a buddy cop comedy with
Officer Stevens
Circle. So
Officer Stevens also just seems too nice. Like,
oh yeah. So then he's attacking Christmas decor, and the evil flirt is like, this is time to move in on Brooke Winters' man, her new roommate, and be like, do you want to go caroling with some friends? And I'm like, is he gonna sing Good King Wenceslas? And then be like, Rudolph? He's like, what's a Rudolph?
Yeah.
Most of these are written by Jewish people in the 40s. They're not. So he's like, oh no, thank you, I'm otherwise engaged. And she's like, later Vanessa's like, what plans? He's like, well, I assume I'm spending time with you. Which that is, you know what? I want a feudal boyfriend.
If he would. If he wanted to, he would, ladies.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm loyal. Which, again, if the contrast with the boyfriend, I think that would be more fun. If it's like, oh, like what is attractive to him is that he's very loyal and that he's like a man of his word. And that's like that was very valued in the medieval period and with knights. And so that's a great
thread that they should have just pulled a little tighter.
She should have had the boyfriend still. She had a boyfriend who was in other girls' DMs, who's in Allison's DMs, and she couldn't trust him. And then there could be a fun scene where Sir Cole kicks him out and like dumps him in the snow.
Love it.
and and we're all like, and then
And starts to hang him by his thumbs, like he said to that kid.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
like,
it.
this is what adulterers.
Yeah, adulterers get.
But then, but that would also be, it'd be hard to explain to him that they'd be living together if he was a medieval knight and they were unmarried. She'd be like, you're a mistress.
Well, maybe they don't live together.
Okay,
Maybe that's the whole thing. Is like she's trying to get him to live.
And he's like, don't be a mistress. Which to him was that's a time period is like a job. He's like, oh, you shouldn't have that job. It would be less of a you whore, and it's like, well, you could have a different job. Meanwhile, he meets the niece. They're like, hey, child, meet this man who thinks he's a knight. And she asks, can girls be knights? And he's about to be like, no.
No. He says no.
Because
and this Hudgens goes, girls can be anything they want to be.
Girl power.
Girl power.
And he's like, all right, okay.
He's like, okay.
He's like, you've got a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is because he's pre-Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
Post Mulan, pre Joan of Arc. Wouldn't know who Mulan was though.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe like Queen Boudica. Yeah. So he's teaching her how to fight. He's a quick learner. He's progressive. Yeah. And he's teaching her how to fight. And they're like, oh, it's kind of cute. And meanwhile, we're learning about that they have this Christmas fundraiser. David, the deserving poor, volunteers. So his children...
He's pretending he's not poor at the time.
Yeah. And he wants his children to know what's important, which is good. Yeah. And to be fair, someone who grew up in like the church volunteer space, the wealthier people tended to donate, but the people who ran the events that kept the church going were like your more middle and lower, like working class people.
Yeah.
They were doing the actual like work.
Yeah.
So there's some truth to this. But there's like, because Claire gives to her friend the gloves because she's like, oh, you're cold, you should take mine. Generous child.
Very.
It's giving. And meanwhile, they're doing this fundraiser because they always have to have an event, a gala. And he's telling there's always has to be an old lady in these movies. This movie really has everything. Propaganda. Yes. Cute old ladies, Christmas, medieval, time travel, shirtless scene. Yeah. So she's like, oh, my husband's injured. And he's like, oh, you need to boil fat and rub it like this. And she's like, okay.
No, she seems convinced. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, because Vanessa is like, he comes from a place with a more holistic approach. And she's like, oh, he could be Goop. That could be his job.
The town Goop.
Yeah.
And he can sell his remedies at the boutique.
Yeah.
There's also one point, I think it happened before this, where the sister like is talking to her daughter, the niece, and she says voila, like in a French accent, like just completely out of the blue. I just made me think of it with her boutique. She literally just goes voila.
So
what's happening at the boutique?
So they're getting food for the fundraiser. He's obsessed with hot chocolate. He does this cute little bit where he keeps putting it in.
Is so funny. The way she's like, okay, we're only gonna get one, and he just puts all of it, and the way he looks at her when he's done, he's just like, and then just walks away. Oscar, give that man an Oscar. That was so good.
His whole Hercussy into this.
Yes,
he did. Like, he honestly is giving a great performance. You believe that he's a fish out of water. He doesn't know what an iPhone is. He doesn't know what Maroon 5 is. And he gives charming, and like you see why she's charmed by him, because he's fun. He's like goofy. Like, I think more of the chemistry is coming from him. Sorry to VHudg, but he's doing his best. And I think the last movie he was big. One of the last big movies he was in was Valley Girl. Saw that on his IMDb, but I hope for more for him because he's fun.
He's in some series.
Yeah,
I forget what it is.
Take that jaw and that charm and those acting skills. You can make.
And then he's like tasting the bread and spitting it out while she's talking. it's so funny. Like that whole sequence
The
in the
Hawaiian
grocery
rolls.
store.
Yeah. It's funny.
So good.
It's good comedy, the kind of
It
stuff that could
is.
be in this
It's
movie.
good physical comedy. Absolutely.
Because he's like, ugh, because he doesn't know like refined sugar. He doesn't know what that tastes like. High fructose corn syrup is new to
This
him.
man,
Pasteurized
he's not going to get
milk.
diabetes. Oh my God, yeah.
Never had that before.
He would have such bad diarrhea.
Yeah, that scene
Let's
was
talk about that.
That
The
scene
dietary issues after that cheeseburger.
because he's used to eating.
She
like...
had to call a plumber the next day for sure.
He would be hospitalized. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
He's eating meat that has not been fed like growth hormones or anything like that. He's eating like vegetables, like lemons
without
are
pesticides.
Yeah.
He's eating things that his body has never seen, and he should be just dying.
Either that or he has like an iron stomach because he's been eating like half cooked meat his whole life.
Yes,
So like
maybe
he's like whatever.
But then again,
I just feel like he would enjoy a Hawaiian roll. Like he seems like someone who'd be like, he'd be confused at first why the bread was so sweet, and then he'd love it.
If he likes hot chocolate, he would like sweet bread because he likes sugar. He hasn't really had a lot of like sugar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like those kids from like the almond moms, like the growing up who they'd be like, let's go to CVS and get Sour Patch Kids. And he'd be like, is that your
eating
activity?
a full bag of raisins in my bedroom in secret because my mother was an almond mom.
Love it.
So
let's also just quickly mention he's not hospitalized for the common cold.
No.
You know.
But Paige is there.
And her wig is still bad.
It's still bad. Because there's probably no people of color on the makeup team.
No, truly. It's a travesty. It's rude.
I mean, speaking of High School Musical, Monique Coleman talked about that.
Yes.
How they didn't know how to do her hair.
And she just did her own hair just however she could in the time that she had. Yeah.
Yeah. It honestly, I was
That's why the
furious.
iconic scarf happened.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So there, Paige is like, can I have extra credit? And she's like, kind of like, who's this guy? Because she's like, yeah, have extra credit. And he's like spitting out bread. You know what? As someone whose sibling is a teacher, I'm being at Target and being approached by students. They like run up to you and they kind of stare at you. And my sibling was like, hi. And they're like, hey. And it's like, okay, you good? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do my shopping now. And then people were talking about their hot boyfriend at school the next day. Very proud of that. But I am not my sibling's boyfriend. I'm their brother. But at least these random teenagers thought I was a worthy boyfriend.
Yeah, the through line is hot.
Yeah, that's what mattered. That's what I
got approval from teenagers.
Yeah. They notoriously have great taste. So they're baking bread. Because he's like, okay, get me some flour, get me stuff. And so he was probably thriving in COVID then because they were bread baking.
Oh, he was all about the sourdough starter.
Yeah. He's going to become a TikTok influencer.
Yeah.
Making bread.
I just want a whole series of this man's life.
Well, remember when like the caveman diet became really big? People were like eating like caveman.
Is that just paleo?
I think so. I think it was rebranded as paleo eventually. Yeah. But like I feel like that's like he's going to become like a TikTok influencer who like is making like medieval foods.
Let's eat the Medi diet.
Yes.
He's gonna blow up on like Harry Potter TikTok for making some old timey dish. Like the nerds are gonna love it. The LARPers. Yeah. So they're baking the bread, and he explains the bean. Like you put a bean, and whoever gets it makes a wish. And also, meanwhile, Claire is going out to play with her friend. Her mom's like, "Where are your gloves?" And he's like, "Oh, I gave them to them."
And don't go too far from the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Simple instructions.
And she's like, "Oh, that's very generous of you. Here, Miss Mouse." I like that her mom doesn't shame her for being generous.
Yes.
So they go out playing. These girls got lost. So she's like, "Vanessa, Knight, come find my kid." And so they're running around. They're trying to find Officer Stevens is there. They're trying to find these girls. And they go to the lake, and because he is an expert tracker, because he's a knight,
Right.
which was a
'cause he's
good. I was
a
like,
falconer.
yeah, falconer. I'm like,
Yes.
that's a good callback. I mean, I love how they
I
didn't
agree.
show the footprints. I'm like, if they're too obvious, they'll be like, how does Officer Stevens not see this?
Right.
Officer Stevens
yeah.
is tired. I think he's been on this ship
He's
for about
the
a week.
only he's the only officer in this town.
Morning
Yeah.
night, he's showing up to the crime scene.
Yeah.
And he sees like the cut trees, and he's like, I'm like, okay, we love
Where the
men in
gloves
forensics.
past the
Yeah.
men in forensics.
Yeah, like Shakira, they're learning from her. But so he's like hunting through, and then they find it, and they're like, she's like, not the lake. Claire knows she's not supposed to go here, and they never explain why she does. But I was nervous for a second that it was going to be the poor kid influenced her. I was like, thank God.
The poor
Right,
kid
yeah.
dared her.
Yeah, but I like, you know what? Kids aren't perfect. She's a very sweet, very generous girl, but she'll drag her aunt and she'll disobey.
I mean, I
Yeah.
will say, you tell a kid they can't do something, they want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell them that the lake is dangerous, they're going on that lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell them you can't be unchaperoned with a lady. He's gonna be shirtless. He's gonna be binge watching. So this reminds me of the scene in Riverdale where Cheryl's on the lake and like Archie's like punching the lake to get her and his arm's bloody. Season 1 finale. Sorry, spoilers. But he's like, okay, how do you get across? Also, like a scene in Narnia. And he's like, you belly crawl. He's like, have you seen a snail? She's like, yes.
He's of course I have.
He's like you're the slowest snail. He's very good with kids. Again, he's proving that he's hot. I'm getting VHudg because he's like, okay, he's very patient.
Husband and father material.
Yeah, he's patient with her, and then he scoops her up. He's like, let's get home.
It's also great in a survival mode.
Which, to be fair, someone who is good in a crisis is a great asset as a friend, as a partner.
Yes.
Yeah. So they get back, and now it's time for they're back at the Santa place to get more hot chocolate.
That's the only thing they can do there, I think.
Yeah. Oh, because they almost kiss.
Yes.
Because they talk about him being stuck here forever, and then they get like a phone call or something.
Yeah, they have like a moment where they stare deeply into one another's eyes, and you're like, oh, they're in love. Like that's when we know that they're in love.
I mean, you know what? I won't drag it. I get it. It's like, I know we talked about this in The Little Mermaid, where people are like, Ariel, why did you give this up? And I'm like, he's got a house, he's got a dog, he can play an instrument, he's nice, Not every Tinder swipe does that show up. So they almost kiss, but he has to go. They're doing the hot chocolate. The old lady gets pickpocketed. And so Tori has some thoughts on the word pickpocket.
The fact that he yells pickpocket at him, the term, I looked this up because I was like, I feel like they didn't have pickpockets. Like, I don't think that was a
pockets
thing.
In the same way.
Yeah, exactly. And I looked it up. Pickpocket is from the 1660s. That's when, and it's based off of some other term. I didn't do that much research, but I'm like, what? There's just like so many lazy things. He could have just said thief.
Yeah.
Thief.
Why'd they have to go pickpocket?
Because it's about feeling old-timey. It's not actually being historically accurate.
It's about the essence of old-timiness.
Yes.
Much like the...
But then I also was just thinking of that Italian woman who makes the TikToks where she goes around yelling pickpocket at pickpockets in Italy.
Yeah, my husband loves those. He's like, look at this shit. He's like, this is the good shit. So he hunts this teenager down because he's a teenager. Vanessa recognizes him, which I thought would go somewhere, but didn't. And he's like, oh, because he takes a sword from one of the play knights and like is like attacking him, and it's like, are you gonna we used to string thieves up by their thumbs so they couldn't steal again? Should we do that to you? And they're like, no, let him go.
Little boy's crying.
This is a minor.
Literally assaulted this kid.
And it would be a minor in your time too, because 21 was the age of majority. He's like, okay. And then the cop is arresting him. And he's like, just keep me away from that crazy man.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care. Take me wherever.
But also, Officer Stevens is holding the boy's hands behind his back, and then when he wants to just go over and talk to everybody, he just like drops his hands and walks away.
Because I'm like, Vanessa Hudgens, her car has been parked insane. She hit a man with her car. So like, if she can get away with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, she's committed multiple assaults.
Yeah. So like, this child has also been assaulted.
Yeah.
So he seems like he's not going to go pickpocket again.
Officer Stevens is like, you've been scared straight.
And he's like, oh, I think you'd be like kind of a good cop. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm like you.
Yeah, you're really good at chasing and tackling people.
Children.
You're really good at
assaulting children with no facts.
Being unduly violent to those
Yes.
you're a great cop. And is he wrong? And he's like, yeah, our duty is to serve and protect. Like
he says that as a knight.
Yeah. Which part of me is like, I feel like in some ways knights served and protected more, because at least they were fighting us against like the Vikings who would burn our homes.
That's true.
But I don't know. This movie's propaganda, much like Paw Patrol featuring Kim Kardashian. But so it's time for, he's like, will I ever find my quest? She's like, time out on this negativity. I believe in you. And I'm like, you just said like 5 words. He doesn't know what that means. Negativity, timeout. Yeah. And like the calendar, the calendar we live by today wasn't even established when this man was alive, let alone timeout.
Yeah, was Christmas even like the same day? Like Christmas being December 25th.
That would be, yes. I mean, the calendar was adjusted, but Christmas has been December 25th for a very long time. And Christmas was always, especially in the Western Europe, was the holiday. Like that. I mean, yes, it's gotten bigger and bigger, but like it always was like even though like Easter is like the resurrection, I think Christmas did tend to be like more fun and popular for people, because there's just a lot of like festivities and raunchiness. It was like church stuff plus Mardi Gras, plus you're cold and you can't work the field, so you have to be inside at the fire,
Right.
You have to eat a lot of food before it goes bad. Harvest.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's time for the red dress reveal. It's always red. She comes down. It's cute. She looks great. He doesn't know how to tie a tie, and she doesn't either. I thought that was funny.
But he knows how to like use a zipper,
Love that.
I guess
feel like
you
it's
go
more
up
believable
and
that he
down.
knows how to tie a tie.
Yeah. Ties were a thing cavalry did. I don't think knights, but it'd be like people would have a tie to wipe their mouth so they could eat on their horse. And now we wear them to prom. But yeah,
just prom.
Only prom.
Only prom.
Required at prom.
Then they almost kiss again, but then text, come to the event. They're having the party. The deserving poor is telling his kids the best thing under a Christmas tree is love, because he's a Bob Cratchit type. And they're, the ointment works and the husband can dance.
Oh, I just blacked out the husband. I don't even remember
he
him.
was, he didn't do much, but he's in the background of a lot of pivotal scenes after he appears. He's like there.
His name is Fred.
Fred. Yeah.
Wow, I'm so sorry to this man.
sorry to this
I didn't recognize him.
There's also a line earlier I missed. He's like, courtship is much more complicated in your time. She's like, I think I prefer it in your time. And I'm like,
I don't know if you would.
At the sexiest it got is you give him a handkerchief before you fought in a joust.
Yeah.
Other than that, it would be like your father arranging how many cows he got.
I will say I have been guilty of watching an episode of Bridgerton going, that seems nice,
Yeah.
Just put their name on your dance card and then you're like, that's just so easy.
It's fun to romanticize the past.
Yeah.
And as again, I always describe homeschooling as unsexy Bridgerton. So that I did go to dances and have to do the thing, and you couldn't be unchaperoned. And
did you have dance cards?
We did not have dance cards.
Can't dance with the same girl twice.
I did have that rule. That was my parents' specific rule.
Interesting.
That it's like you couldn't sit out a dance if girls were sitting out, and you couldn't ask the same girl twice. Or if you wanted to, you had to ask every other girl.
Oh, so it was like a fairness thing. It wasn't like that is promiscuous.
Yeah, it was more like, because like, how Mr. Darcy was considered rude in Pride and Prejudice for sitting out.
Yes.
of the dance. It was more like you have a responsibility as a social event to like fulfill this role to make sure everyone's having a good time. To not.
Okay.
It was also, it taught you not to be a lump on the wall. It taught me to handle rejection because some girls said no, and you just be like, oh, okay, I'll just ask someone else. And like it was a small step to like, so then a small rejection. So then bigger rejections, like do you like on a date, then if someone says no, you're like, well, that's happened before. So you know what? I think it was kind of a good thing to be like aware of your place at a social event and to learn to handle rejection. Because I think with incel culture and stuff, like a lot of men obviously never learned that.
Obviously.
Totally.
They're at this party and they organize for David, like, look at all these toys, like a new bike for your kids, like, and the kids get to open it up. And
well, okay, so the boy gets a bike, a fun thing. And the girl's like, yay, I get a coat and gloves.
I know.
She gets necessity. I was like, wow. This is the only
starts
girl
young. It starts young.
Did the knight pick this?
But also, they're like,
they're
like, Santa made a mistake and brought your gifts here. And then like 5 seconds later, like Vanessa Hudgens stage whispers, like, the town bought all these gifts. I'm like, yeah.
And they're like, and here's a gift.
She does.
She says it so loudly in front of the children.
And he's like we all pitched in because you're the deserving poor.
You're so poor.
Literally. Because, his wife died the year before, right? And
everyone's dead in this.
He works 2 jobs, he's got 4 kids. He volunteers still. You're right, he is the deserving poor.
And she's like, and we donated a bunch of money
he
to
says,
you. Like he's like, I can't take this.
It's too much. And they're like, we know times are tough right now. We just want to help. He's like, well, I'll try to find a way to pay it forward. And I was like, yeah, he's gonna go to McDonald's and pay for the person next door.
And the night
and ruin everyone's day at McDonald's. Everyone works there.
The knight is like, oh yes. I'm like, the knight would not know what pay it forward means.
Nope.
He would understand charity. He would generosity. He'd be like, oh, you're a generous person.
That's the simple way to say it, but yeah.
But also this kind of very public thing of giving is very much for the givers. I guess for kids, like, because it's under a tree, that's one thing. But I mean, I participated in a lot of like packaged shoeboxes of toys for underprivileged kids, or like you at church, it's like sponsor a family, or like you'd get a kid's wish list. But it was like you didn't get to stand there and watch the kid open the present.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, it's like you give it, so then they can be like, Santa brought this, like to add to their magic.
Give selflessly, because you're not not that like giving to your family isn't selfless, to watch them open it, but like you are also deriving pleasure from watching them open the gifts you got them. But like something like that is literally like, this is just for those people to enjoy or to benefit from that.
And it's it can be a little condescending or put people kind of on the spot of like, well, oh, you can't afford Christmas, so here.
He clearly wasn't telling people that he was poor because like people were like surprised to know that the daughter didn't have gloves. So I'm like, you are really like, this is like a shame thing for him. And you're like, let's gather everyone in town.
Let's tell them, be like, did you know that he's poor? Can you spare $5?
And then let's give him this check and make him do a little dance for us.
Let's remind his kids that they're poor too, so that they know too.
Because you could very easily, if they're best friends, the girls, the mom whose husband, he shows up for a bit. He's a lawyer.
He settled the case. The case. That's all we get.
Totally pointless character. Love him so much.
They could very easily just be like, oh, we noticed that she, was missing some. So like, Merry Christmas, like, and just not even say we noticed she didn't have gloves, but just like be like, we saw these really cute gloves, and since our daughters are best friends, Merry Christmas.
We got
some gloves.
Yeah, love that.
And that's like a subtle way, and David might even know that they are clocking it, but like it's a way to be like, we clock it, but like we're not
addressing it directly. It's it's just a little bit more subtle.
This is a Miss Manners How to Gift Give and Do Charity podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Because Emily Post too.
It's like performative. And I think that's 100%. And it's a movie, so it has to, that feel good thing. But it doesn't give me literally like when Scrooge is gifting the Cratchits, all that stuff, and you're like, oh, because these people are generally nice, so it's not. Anyway, they do their charity gala fundraiser, he takes pictures with kids. The floozy is like, here's mistletoe.
But she also presents it to him like a bouquet. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't go like mistletoe. Like, I feel like normal people would do that.
He does make a great comment about like, to ward off evil spirits.
Yeah.
Because it did have like a magical significance in medieval times. So like that, he's like, are you doing witchcraft? Are you like, what's happening here?
Witch.
Immediately
no. He's like, oh no. And she's like, I think she sees Vanessa. He looks at her and she's like, oh, I think like you're otherwise.
Yeah, turns out she's a decent human being.
She just wanted to
Also,
ask.
is like a consent queen. Like, she's constantly asking for his consent.
True. Yeah, it turns out Vanessa Hudgens is just being judgmental.
Yeah. She's like, oh, she was voted biggest flirt in high school. I'm like, flirting in high school.
Welcomed him to the neighborhood, asked him if he wanted to do a volunteer activity, and then was like, would you like to kiss me under the mistletoe? And he said no. And she was like, that's fair.
Yeah. Oh, it seems like you're interested in someone else. Sounds like an adult woman who's willing to ask people out.
Only because she has a flirty tone to it. And you know what? She's just
Allison
trying to be charming.
Yeah.
She's just trying to be charming. Like, let her be Vanessa Hudgens.
That would be the
Once again, Vanessa Hudgens judging people she doesn't know.
So then they kiss. The medallion glows. He's fulfilling his mission. So they go home, and the old crone has inhabited another old woman's body, is watching them. And then he's like, I have to go because I fulfilled my mission. I've seen my brother's knighting ceremony. And she's like, you're not making this easy. And he's like, you'll always be special, whatever. And like genuflects and disappears in a puff of smoke. And she's like,
it's so
Cole? I'm like, he disappeared. Because she had started to believe he was a knight.
The smoke is so slow. Like, it's not like a poof, like he's gone. It's like this, it's
swirl.
Like you can see the smoke machine going.
Yeah. And she's just like, okay, I guess he's just gone. But I'm like, he disappeared in front of you. Why are you not freaking out?
Well, I guess she had accepted he was a medieval knight. Yeah.
But who time traveled?
Yeah.
She's accepting time travel. I was like, you are a woman in STEM.
Yeah.
Oh, there are some things we haven't discovered yet.
Because he said, in that way, only things you believe or can understand are real, which is a kind of an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't seem like a particularly skeptical person.
No.
So it's like he also would believe in fairies, witchcraft, ghosts, all things maybe Vanessa believes in. We don't know.
I think one of the main things about the fact that she finally comes to terms with him being a time traveler is that like we don't know what she does and doesn't believe.
Yeah.
In general, like we don't know a lot about her. Like,
well, that's why these heroines are designed to be as generic as possible.
Oh yeah,
she has
Bella
Swan.
Yeah, it's like they're vaguely Christian. It's like to kind of fit whatever is kind of considered normal. Like they have a nice job and a nice house, and they celebrate Christmas. Maybe they'll pop by a church event, but in general, they're not super religious to be off-putting. It's like
she's charitable and community focused.
Yeah.
Which could be a version of church.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like to appeal to as many people as possible.
But she's like a little slutty because she lets a stranger come stay in her house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's fun.
Did Allison do that? No.
So then he's like, I gotta go back. So also she said she got the bean in her bread.
She's like sobbing.
He made a handmade ornament for her in the tree, like her mom used to do, which is again, that is a swoon-worthy move.
That's a good callback. It is.
Yeah.
I just wish they had more things in common.
Yeah, because she did give him an orange and a half penny, so she did listen to what he has to say.
Yes.
There are worse movie couples, for sure.
It's true. It's so insane, though, that like his knight's quest is to go fall in love with a woman in 2019 in Ohio.
Yeah.
I guess, according to the crone who decides these things.
I want the sequel with Joffrey, the brother.
Who's he gonna fall in love with? Is it Lindsay Lohan?
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, it would have been so much fun if the princess switch was like, it didn't work out with the knight, and now she's going to this land to switch places with the princess.
Just a whimsical life, a whimsical Christmassy life.
I mean, it's not going to work out. Like, I know, like, you know, I want to think of the best for them, but like, it's not going to work out.
He's
like,
probably
how
gonna
is that
die.
You mean for Vanessa Hudgens and this guy?
Yeah.
You don't think it's okay? So let's say it doesn't work out. What's going to
does he
happen to him?
do?
Because she is his emotional support woman.
Exactly.
Okay? He's going to be lost.
No social
It's like
security
an episode
number.
of 90 Day Fiance. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're heading into.
Yeah.
Where it's like they decided to get married without knowing much about each other. He needs a lot of financial and emotional support. He doesn't know the culture. And she's like, can't I just go hang out with my gal pals like for once? I don't want to babysit you.
She's like,
she doesn't have friends. She just has her sister.
That's true.
It's
And again, she
Ohio.
fucking hates Allison.
And Paige.
This girl she trauma dumps on.
Also, before
child with a bad wig.
we have to talk about Paige. The wrap up with Paige. Poor Paige.
Paige is like, Grayson wants to get back together with me, but I want to focus on my own goals. So screw him. And she's like, true love isn't real. And she's like, you're wrong, Paige. And she's like, what? She's like, not about your goals. That's fine. She's like,
I was wrong. True love does exist, and
it's
she's
real
crying
and beautiful.
to this 12-year-old.
This girl, I do love how the girl doesn't comfort her. The girl's like,
yeah.
She's like, I just blew up my whole life because you told me love isn't real, and now you're just gonna renege on that.
A lot of mixed messages from Ms. Winters.
She is blowing up her group chat with, I just saw Ms. Winters have a full sobbing breakdown
over a bean.
I saw the beginning of her meltdown, guys. After Christmas break, she's gonna be a wreck.
So I guess teacher was a good job. So could it explain why she has so much free time
during the Christmas season? Yeah. She doesn't have to have like a bakery that she has to run busily.
Like let her friend run all the time so she can go off and do hijinks. Exactly. So she's upset. She goes to her family. The girl got a puppy, and the parents didn't get the puppy. It's magic. I'm like, who's magic? Santa, the crone, just Christmas in general. I'm like, is this family prepared to have an animal? Do they have food? Do they have toys? Do they have bedding?
No. It's going to the shelter.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. They say the puppy's growing on them, but as soon as it pees in the house, it's going to the shelter.
Yeah.
And it's going to be featured in a different Netflix Christmas movie.
I was like, you don't do puppies as Christmas presents.
No.
You
don't. But you want to know what you also don't do? What my parents did when I asked for a puppy, which was they went to FAO Schwartz and got me one of those like life-size realistic stuffed black labs and bought like leashes and collars for me. And they were like, this is your pet Eve. And I literally, I pretended that was my pet dog for far too long.
And we're speechless. I think you have the part of the next
me trauma dumping on
this is our next Netflix Christmas special is the dog Christmas Wish. Christmas Wish, A Dog's Love. That's the name of the movie. Eve comes to life, helps you confront some bullies.
Like life size with Tyra, except it's a dog.
I love it.
The dog is voiced by Tyra Banks.
Yes, in a callback, because that's the worst you can do. The dog looks at the bully and is like, I want to give you a 0, but I can't, so I'm giving you a 1. Yeah.
We were all
rooting for you.
That's like the couple, like the upset scene, like the climax before everything's resolved. We're all rooting for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in the Christmas talent show. It's in the Christmas pageant. Yeah.
a movie that just writes itself.
Yeah. So this poor puppy. But anyways, they're in the Christmas town, and the girl's like, I thought Cole liked it here. And she's like, yeah, but he had to go back. He did love it here. And then he goes back to his brother, and he's like, my heart led me to this main. He's like, you're in love. I can see it in your face. And he's like, skip my knighting ceremony, go follow your heart, not fully understanding I will never see my brother again.
Literally. Because okay, so this guy was named Joffrey, right?
Yeah.
So the horse comes
Jeffrey, but it's spelled with a G.
Oh, okay.
Better.
The horse, so in the beginning of the movie, the horse like runs back to the town
Sherman.
or whatever where they are.
Sherwin, yeah.
Yeah.
Williams.
So they supposedly go out and look for him for days, and then he randomly shows up. He's fine. And then he's like, okay, you're gonna go be with your love, like do that. And that doesn't mean, he's going to the town over. He's going. How many years in the future? Is that too many for me to count? He's gone. And you're gonna die in like 5 years, Jeffrey.
Yeah. Wouldn't he want him at the knighting? But then I was like, my siblings never went to my graduations except high school.
Wow.
Where my brother was upset because people kept asking him if he was Cullen's brother. Because he was used to me being his brother.
Wow. He needs to unpack that.
He has. That was a long time ago. Very different.
Good.
But
Good.
yeah. The crone sends him back. She's like, let me send you back to be with your quest, Vanessa. And so there everyone's sad, and he comes riding in on his horse, scoops her up.
The horse didn't ask for this.
No, the horse is like, I want simpler times. Also, what now they're gonna have to pay stable fees? Like,
yeah, horses are
so expensive.
It's so much cheaper to have a horse in medieval times. Everyone was doing it.
So he's got to scoop her up on the horse. He's like, my quest is you.
We see it behind you.
Yeah. He's like, my quest is you. She's like, my handsome knight. He's like, what are you going to do? He's like, I'll be a baker or a cop.
The two genders.
And they ride and everyone just claps.
Everyone in town.
Yeah. I love an everyone clapped moment. But, I would see that and be like, ah, cute.
I wouldn't.
I don't know that
I would be like, what's going on?
I would assume.
Why is he in armor?
I would assume he's an actor and that's his girlfriend and it's Christmas and they're going for a ride.
Oh, you would assume that was his girlfriend, not someone who paid for a romantic horse ride with a night performer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because no one else
think
would
the
do
latter.
It.
What I just said.
Right. He's a night-themed courtesan. Yeah. So that's the movie. That's the night before Christmas.
Well, did you see the credit scene?
Oh, there's a post-credit scene
where the
crone. She is hooking up lonely women left and right. She is importing men and diseases.
We were robbed because we haven't had a sequel.
Yeah,
like they set it up and then they just left us hanging.
Who's he gonna fall in love with?
Allison.
Yes, Allison deserves it.
Yeah,
she's charming and she knows when, she's actually very pro women. She was like, okay, you know what? I see you and Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah,
and I respect that. She was literally like, here, have some mistletoe. Go get her, pal.
And I feel like the crone is a girl's girl. She's bringing in love interest for these women. Yeah. She's like, Vanessa needs it. So I think the crone is like, Allison's a supporter. We're gonna help her out.
And she's saving men from early deaths.
Yes. Equality.
Sorry, my dog felt she needed to join.
What do you think of this movie?
She's been jumping at my side. What do you think?
Hi. What do you think of it? Me too. Yeah.
That is the look of someone who has beef with Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah. And she does.
Yeah.
She wasn't even alive when this movie came out, but she's pissed.
So do we root for our protagonist? Who is our protagonist? Is it Cole or is it Brooke?
It's Cole.
It's Cole's story.
Desire.
He wants something. She's along for the ride.
Yeah, she's just there. She's the object of his quest.
Yeah. The damsel.
So, yeah.
I guess we do root for him, but I'm also just like, I feel like he's being set up to fail. And people are not being honest with him that it's not going to be as easy as it is at Christmas time.
True.
He's gonna have to go back to work. Then what are you gonna do all day?
Oh my god, what is he gonna do?
Open a bakery.
Probably burn the house down. Like he doesn't want to use a stove.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
can't think too far into the future because
no.
She's gonna have to grade papers, and he's gonna be like, "Yeah, but I want to Netflix and chill."
Yeah.
You know, and gosh, he's like, "I want
Yeah.
to watch The Circle. It's named after me."
Yeah, I mean, I root for him because he's a progressive knight. He's
Mhm.
got a great jawline. He's fun. He's played very charismatically. I think
Yeah.
Yes.
this movie could be so much worse with a less charming actor.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He's doing the heavy lifting here.
For sure.
I root for him. Do we ship him and Brooke?
I guess.
I do. I enjoy it. I'm along for the ride. I think along for the ride is my
A
general feeling of
Christmas
this
fling.
movie.
Yeah.
I think as a Christmas fling, yes. But I agree with Tori. Once they get into the real stuff, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how realistic.
He's been raised to go to war. But you know what? That's a historical knight. They say he apprenticed in the kitchens. They would not have nobility doing that.
Right,
But
yeah.
Right.
this version, the NCU knight, he spent time with the commoners. He can bake bread.
Mhm.
So maybe he's a little more down to earth.
He has some hobbies. I mean, listen, the pandemic is going to test them, and they're either going to come out stronger or not at all.
This is the Taylor Swift Joe Alwyn situation.
Literally.
Ooh.
Literally.
Yeah. Who do we think? So usually I ask about the antagonist. I guess we have our other characters. They're all basically, everyone else is just like a classic
Stock
like
character.
Yeah.
The only villain is her ex-boyfriend who like never speaks and
Who
like
doesn't
maybe
cause
Allison.
conflict.
No,
Yeah.
and maybe
Allison
the town
actually
slut
causes
Allison.
some conflict.
But he doesn't fall for anything.
But she's
No.
still instigating. She's causing discomfort for Vanessa Hudgens.
Yes.
And he's having to compensate for that, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he say something about like he uses the Zoomer speak and he says something about her self-esteem is whack or something like that? But yeah, that ex-boyfriend causes zero conflict. He causes her discomfort.
So fun.
But he does not insert himself. He's just living his life and she's like, you know.
Yeah, I think
it could have been so much fun.
Yeah.
If he would have come up, if Circle would have gone right up to him and been like, "Hey, douche, it's nice to meet you."
Yeah.
Hilarious.
If there's anything we learned from Legally Blonde, it's that we love a shitty ex-boyfriend getting his comeuppance.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, our antagonist. I guess our big question, was that your fantasy? Tori?
No. My fantasy not set in Ohio for sure.
Like there is something charming about the idea of, you know, the fish out of water character getting together with a very normal person, but with a fish out of water who is so far from his water. But I think the movie in general is also not my fantasy because these movies are not my shtick anyway. But there's just so many missed opportunities. We already talked about it, that like this movie could have actually been a lot more fun for someone who doesn't like these movies, with just like small changes to the plot, adding a plot that made sense, not just random happenstances. And also Vanessa Hudgens, not as charming as I thought she would be.
No, her voice is so musical theater that it like it's like alarming. You don't trust it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
She's projecting, she's stage whispering.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes. This is my fantasy. I'm obsessed with this movie. In like, it's a top tier Christmas schlock. And so talking about it like this, I'm like, this movie could actually be like an Elf kind of Christmas movie that's like good, people love it. Or like a Christmas Story, or like, you know, it could be like a classic with this premise. I think what it is like a dumb movie that's fun. And that's and you know what? And to have a hot night,
pretty formulaic,
sweep you off your feet, that is a fantasy. Now, yeah, it's
Yes.
formulaic, and I think I never quite realized it till this discussion of how it's formulaic in a way that doesn't take advantage of its premise. So, like, Falling for
Yes.
Christmas with Lindsay Lohan, the formula really fits the premise really well. I think
Yes.
this, the premise is of the Christmas formula, like, this premise is almost better than it, even though I don't think anyone thought that. The premise had more potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were so many moments where they just like skimmed over the top, where I'm like, if you just gave us a little bit more.
Yeah. I think
And if
almost
they gave us
delving into the fantasy and the magic of it, and like a quest, and like not like it needs to be full magic, but like just and just making it more of a comedy.
Also the idea of the quest, because like I kind of forgot, like, okay, why is he here? And he was like, oh yeah, my quest is, I have to figure it out. But he should be trying to figure out, why am I here? Like, making it more of a mystery, and she's actually helping him figure it out would put them in situations where he's like, oh, maybe I have to help the deserving poor in town.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, that doesn't send me back home,
What if she's descended from people that his family wronged? And it's like, you have to make this right.
They do some sort of like research in a library. Like she's like, I've got to learn all about knighthood. She's a history
teacher.
Yeah.
It's a dream of mine that I forget about all the time. So I don't know how strong of a dream it is to write like a Christmas movie like this. Yes. Not specifically about a time traveling knight, but like just a silly Christmas movie.
Yeah.
This is making me remember, if I do this, to really indulge in my premise.
No, truly.
Yeah, that's a really good takeaway from this, is like, if you have a good premise, like, just lean in.
I pitched a summer one once in class about a princess hiding out in a watermelon festival with like the real heir to the throne who had given it up because she wanted to go be like a lesbian watermelon farmer.
Wow.
That. Yeah.
Fun.
So, but then there was like trying to come with the royal stakes. There was like an evil Nazi uncle who was trying to like take control and marry her. And she had to like expose her family's like Nazi ties and be like, we need to do better. It was then I was like, complex. This is too much. Yeah. This is too much.
I thought it was gonna be a light summer romance.
Watermelons again.
Yeah. But there was also
I
watermelon
this light
hijinks.
Summer film about watermelons. There is a Nazi subplot.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing with these small little European countries. Sometimes those royal families were involved in some shit.
It's true. It's true.
All right. Tori, is there anything you'd like to plug?
So I want to plug this Chihuahua. And you should go get your own Chihuahua.
Yeah. But not give them
South LA shelter.
South LA shelter. Go to your shelters. Adopt, don't shop, and do not give dogs as Christmas presents unless everyone is fully aware, prepped, ready to go, has all the stuff, and it knows it is a long commitment.
Yes.
Agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hannah,
you can follow Not My Fantasy on Instagram and TikTok at Not My Fantasy Pod. And if you're on YouTube watching us, hello. You can
smash that like button.
And hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to let you know when we put out more content.
Ding dong merrily notification.
Like and subscribe. I've always wanted to say that.
There you go.
Dreams come true. It's the holidays.
Yeah.
Comment below with your favorite corny Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And if Vanessa Hudgens has personally wronged you, call
let us know.
1-800. Vanessa Justice.
But yeah.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Cullen Ever After. And we have our special holiday special coming up. We'll be talking about some Rankin Bass specials, some Christmas traditions.
Should I spoil something for you?
Yeah.
What's the dentist elf's name?
Herbie.
Hermey. Hermey.
That's his
Hermey.
name?
That makes me hate him even more.
That is so homophobic of you. And he is a gay icon.
I know, but
that's why I loved him as a child. But so if you're ready
That's
for
what we're talking about.
some debates about the magic of Christmas and discussion of holidays, tune in next time for that. Tori, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We hope you had fun, because as Hilary Duff would say, I know, I did.
Laugh out loud.
Typed on your phone. LOL. Thank you so much for coming. And everyone, enjoy. Have a safe, wonderful holiday season. See you for the next special. And if you have the option to have a feudal boyfriend, make sure you talk about some important political, religious, feminist, social issues. Like, make sure you are on the same page.
And that he can read.
And that he can read. Modern English.
Modern English.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.